Hey everyone, it's Dr. Rick, and first off, thank you for subscribing to the channel, and thank you for purchasing Mixture. So, I wanted to tell you about why I came up with this idea. I went to one of my excursions. I usually take a summer group to an excursion in Colorado or some big mountaintop to try to make a summit of 14,000 feet or higher. So, the last time I was in Colorado, I was able to hit one of the mountains. But I went to a dispensary assuming I'd have delayed onset muscle soreness afterward. I went to a dispensary and immediately bought this stuff. This is a pretty decent cream, high dose of CBD. For those of you who are just beginning this journey, CBD is the anti-inflammatory effect of this cannabis plant. THC is the one that gets you high or euphoric. I didn't want to do that. I just wanted CBD. So I tried this, and the next day I didn't have any pain. Now, some of you are probably saying it's because of my training. Maybe it's placebo because of this, but I didn't care because it still got me to a second mountain. So then I thought on the flight home I didn't have any soreness again. The problem I found in Illinois is that if you go to a standard dispensary, and I love my dispensaries in Illinois, you might have two products available topically. So my older patients with thin skin and joint pain, they have two options. A cool option by Mary Medicinals, or a hot option with capsaicin by Amazing Grace. Now, the problem is you have to have that in the dispensary, and sometimes, as some of you know, you can't find it. And then what do? Well, you try something new, and that will be arguably another experiment. So if I have my patients that are dosed in with the exercise and the right amount of CBD topically, when you don't have it for 2 to 4 weeks, that can upset a lot of people. So I thought, why not have a base that we can formulate in Mixture, and then you get your own product that's always, well, I can't say always, but will more often be available at the dispensary. So for the purposes of our video, I put my 3 favorite tinctures, Grassroots, Spectra, and Matter, that are usually more available than the topicals. These you can get at most dispensaries. And the tincture I'm going to draw up, and then we're going to mix with Matt. Matt is the compounding pharmacist, the brains of the group, and he also told me in detail about how to put this stuff together, how it would chemically work, and I think we have a great product. This is also a thicker oil. It's called RSO oil, Rick Simpson oil. This is typically heavier. Well, it's not as refined as the tinctures. These 3 in particular are heavy with CBD. So the total amount of CBD in these 3 guys, that's usually more available than the topicals, are high. You don't have to use the whole bottle in there. You can actually titrate it, which Matt will talk about in a second. The Rick Simpson oil, this is heavy, and quick story, that when I first started this a couple of years ago, I tried Rick Simpson oil to take care of sleeping better. I put half of a rice grain amount on my finger, and I put that under my tongue. It was about 9 p.m. I wasn't finished with my euphoria until 1 p.m. the next day. And you might say that's great. Well, it wasn't great. I was dizzy. I was a little bit slow. I was repetitive. I've mentioned some of my patients. That morning I was going up and down my steps for, I don't know why, but at least 20 to 30 times, and I kept on forgetting. And I don't want that for you guys. So worst case scenario, if you don't have any tinctures and you have the oil, fine. Well, we'll really have to titrate how much. And I have articles that I'll attach here on how to titrate your product with our product. So let's talk to Matt about how to mix this up. And this is Dr. Dingra. Hi, Matt.
Hey, Dr. Rick.
So, Dr. Dingra, could you explain to our customers when they get our product drop shipped to them, how are they supposed to mix their tincture or their RSO oil into what we have given them?
So we're going to provide them with a standardized base. And the reason that we selected the ingredients in this base are because the research suggests that this is the best base to use for CBD and THC components. So we selected that base for this reason. We'll then provide you with a syringe which you can use to draw up your product. And then we proceed to then take the contents of the syringe. As you can see right now, it's like a more white, clearish base. Once we add our product, we'll add a little bit more. It'll be in a syringe form, so I'm just going to draw this up. We're going to place the contents of that into our jar. And the cool thing about the base and the device that we provide is we can just shake it up at home ourselves, and that is where the advantage comes from. So now we'll then proceed to shake this up for a good 30 seconds to a minute. We'll go ahead and assume that a minute has passed, and now, as you can see, when we open up the container, we have a nice
mixture,
tannish mixture ready for us to go. And now we will apply this. Prior to applying it, we'll wash our hands and dry it. That way our hands are clean. We'll then take an amount and apply it to the area where the discomfort may be, or to the affected area. In this case, I'm going to apply it to my left wrist because actually I've been having a little bit of discomfort in this area. And believe it or not, within just a matter of seconds, I'm already feeling the benefit of the formulation, and I'm getting a better range of motion already. So whether that's placebo effect or whether that's the effect of the active ingredient, really doesn't matter. Our focus is the end result, and that is where we are getting the best benefit from, and we're doing it in such a way that it's standardized so that we can get the same results the same time, every time.
You mentioned that it can be titrated, or the customer can take their syringe and decide how much to use. It's probably going to be a little bit of experiment, the first few attempts, I believe.
Well, that's the great thing about this base is, as you said, when we purchase a commercial product, we already know what's already in the formulation. We can't change it. But with this, we can apply the amount that we desire, and based on the product that we're using, we may have to apply more, and if we're using a stronger product, we can apply less. But the cool thing is we have that flexibility. And of course, if you tell us what product you're using, we'll be able to look up the components of that product and give you our suggestions on how much to add in the quantity provided.
And that'll be, we will include a worksheet, obviously, so you have a guidance, but there's always going to be customer service and customer support in case you need some more guidance than that. If you're on the fence with having not enough, but then having too much, if that's a narrow window or a narrow approximation, I would rather have us work with empowering you to fine-tune and dial it in on your own in a safer manner. And that's why I think that when you have that absorption, the skin works as a barrier, so it kind of, just like a filter, you won't get everything through, but you can titrate and slow down what gets in. And hopefully with less side effects, what are called systemic side effects. This, when it gets into the mucous membrane or into the gastric mucosa, will be absorbed immediately to bloodstream. And it's supposed to go through a first pass effect. And then it goes, so that means it gets digested by the liver, sent out to the body. And the idea for pain control, especially you chronic pain patients, is we want you to have less pain. Even if you're on an opioid, there's a nice study that came out that showed opioids and medical cannabis together were, at least observationally, able to decrease that total volume of both. So if that's placebo, if it is just placebo and you're able to have somebody get down or come down a little bit on their opioid,
it's a huge victory.
Yeah, less opioid possibilities for side effects. Marijuana at this point in time by itself has not caused any overdose. You can have to certainly be careful with abuse. However, if we think of this as a medicine for our chronic pain patients, for our cancer patients, I think we have a win. So I'm glad you tried it. Just in case people have a problem with shaking it up on their own, our arthritic patients, do you have an option for them to maybe mix it for them?
Absolutely. So we can use our mixing device, which we call an unguator, and the mixing would be done.
Those of you who are not in Illinois, certainly when we drop ship this to you, you saw how easy it is. It should be easy to do. And by the way, do they have to mix it again if it's been stagnant for 24 hours, 36 hours? It should stay mixed up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
If we want to add a little 20-second mixture prior to administering it, yeah, absolutely, we can do that. But it's not necessary because the solvency of the oil.
Excellent. Go down below if you're thinking about our product, and we can drop ship it anywhere in the United States. If you have questions, put them in the comments down below. We're making it in several different applications. At this point in time, it's topically in 2 different sizes. In the works, we have nasal sprays, We have powders, we have shampoos, and other options available for those of you who need it to apply in different areas. Right now, as long as you guys are getting benefit from it, also put that in a comment. If you found it worked well for you, how often did you try it, and how long have you been using it? And maybe your desired dose that worked for you.
And if you have a specific product that you want us to do the measurements for, we'll be happy to do that and give some guidance on how much to use to mix into the container that's provided.